Let us look at the basic fundamentals in C, the basic elements of C, and how to program using this language. Now, before we begin the basic elements in C, let me introduce you to the basic concepts in C, the way it was designed and developed. C was designed and developed by Dennis Ritchie in 1972. C has a predecessor called the language B. Now, let's look at the basic features that were developed in B. B was developed in 1960 at the University of Cambridge, mainly to overcome the defects that was there in the basic combined programming language. Both these languages were not capable of handling the software defects, the applications that were existing at that time. So there was a need to develop a more powerful language that could handle these software problems. Now that led to the development of this language C. Now C is called a middle level computer language. Now what does this middle level computer language signify? A middle level language means something in between the high and the low level languages. So this C combines the features of high level language and the functionality of this assembly language. A high level language is something that we users can understand, and a low level language or an assembly language is one that the machines can understand. So we needed a language that could bridge the gap between us and the system. So that was perfectly done by the software language C. Now this C acted as a bridge between us and the system. We were able to communicate in the form of programs that could solve the current problems at hand. And the results that were produced by the system were communicated to us in an understandable manner. So this feature of C was most well suited for developing both application software and system software. So what does this application software mean? A software which is generated for a specific application, for a specific problem, is called application software. For example, we are viewing the PowerPoint slides which are prepared using MS PowerPoint. We cannot use MS Excel or MS Word the same way to create a slide. A slide is meant to be created using the PowerPoint software. So that indicates that this MS PowerPoint is an application software meant for that particular application. So what is system software? A system software is a heartbeat of any computer system. When we switch on any computer, we see a number of processes taking place on their own. That process is called booting. That is when the operating system gets loaded into the computer. All the desktop settings, the hardware settings, the printer settings, the scanner settings, or whatever settings have been already configured in the computer are brought to their normal ranges so that the desktop can be seen for the users to start using the system. So a system software is more general in nature. It is common to all the computer systems, whereas an application software is one which is developed for a particular reason, to solve a particular task at hand. So this feature of C, a middle level language, was most acceptable to write both these kinds of software. So that's what makes C so popular. Next we say that C is a structured language. So what does this structured language mean? The structured language allows a variety of programs in small modules. A module is nothing but a small set of statements. Now there are two different ways to handle a problem. Either we can solve the entire problem in a series of steps, or we can divide the problem into smaller subtasks, handle each subtask, and when we combine it together we get the final solution. So C prefers to follow the second approach. It normally divides the problem into smaller subtasks and it writes a small set of statements called a module to solve that problem. Then all these modules are combined together to form the entire program. So that is what gives C a structure. It has a beginning, it has an ending, and it has a body which is divided into several modules. So this feature of C makes it easy for debugging. Debugging is nothing but finding, detecting, and recovering from errors. So any mistake that is there in the program can be easily rectified, and every time we make a change to a set of statements, they have to be tested and seen whether after the change is made, the program is executed correctly and whether the final aim, the goal, is achieved. So for all of these C is very efficient as well as easy to be handled. It's easy for debugging, easy for testing once the program's errors are removed, and it's easy for maintenance. Now what is the software maintenance? Now say we have a program that performs addition and subtraction. Using the same set of statements, we can easily perform the other arithmetic calculations by a small change of a symbol. So when the software is maintained, it saves us the entire time and the coding to start the entire program again and perform similar problems of the same nature. So having a single program at hand, we can solve other problems of a similar nature by just making small modifications in one or two statements in the coding. So C gives us that particular advantage over other languages that were developed before it. So that's what makes programming with C more efficient as well as fast, because everything that is related to a software, starting from development of the software, debugging of the software, testing of the software and maintenance of the software, everything is made easier with this language. So that's what makes C a very popular language. So this is just an introduction to C.